Welcome back into Exit 99 Sports. As always, my name's Caleb Deloach, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Coach Dave Mirly, head coach over at Jackson Girls Volleyball. Coach, glad to have you here, and glad to talk a little bit of volleyball, something new, maybe something people don't hear a lot about, I guess, in this area, maybe as much.
I'm excited. It's an honor to be here, and love talking about volleyball.
Yeah, so, you've had a lot of success here at Jackson. I went back, looks at 7, I think, conference tournament championships, 6 consecutive district championships. So I can tell you as a fan, I've enjoyed watching your teams play. You guys obviously have a lot of good talent, but always very fun style. You guys play a lot of very, very, very team oriented. It's been a good time watching you over the last several years. So excited to get you in here. What was, just kind of talking about you first, what was your kind of personal past with sports? So, growing up until, whatever college took you.
Sure. I grew up loving basketball. Really, when I got to college, I kind of wanted to, I grew up on a farm. And when I went to college, living on a farm, you're outside all day long, you're sweating, you're on a tractor, it's dirty. And when I went to college, I wanted to do the opposite of that, which is sitting behind a desk in a suit.
I feel that.
So I was a business major my first year, and during that first year, a good friend of mine, Tim Mirly, over at St. Paul, asked me if I wanted to coach the basketball team. And I was like, no, I don't think I can make that work in my business world. And then I realized I was not going to make it in the business world. Didn't understand it, didn't like it. And then, so I went back and asked them if I could coach that second year when I was in college, and I changed my major to PE, and that's kind of what got me interested in coaching. And then,
was coaching. So that wasn't necessarily like a goal the whole time, like growing up. That wasn't necessarily where you saw yourself the whole time.
No, not at all. I really didn't know what I wanted to do until my second year in college, when I knew I didn't want to major in business anymore.
Yeah.
And if he hadn't asked me, I don't know where I would have ended up or what I would have done if I would have found it on my own or not. But man, that really got me excited about coaching. Was that first year, way back in 1997.
So you get started in basketball. You said up in, where did you say it's?
St. Paul.
At St. Paul. Okay, so St. Paul, you started there coaching, and then what was that journey like then? So you start St. Paul '97. So where did that take you? Just
so for 3 years while I was in college, I coached at St. Paul, and basketball, I loved it. I played for a great coach, Coach Steve Burke, and Coach Eric Venable at Jackson, and they really taught me the fundamentals and the importance of all the little bitty details, and really just I didn't know it at the time. It was, but it was just really giving me everything I needed fundamental wise to be a basketball coach. Got to do that for 3 years, coach some traveling teams, coach my boys' teams. And then my first year, when I graduated college, I went down to New Madrid and was a basketball coach down there.
Okay, so you're coaching boys over there at New Madrid?
I was the assistant basketball coach, head freshman coach, assistant high school coach. And, all I ever wanted to do in life was be a boys basketball coach.
Boys basketball coach? Well, let's see, that's funny now because you have Jackson Volleyball on your shirt. So what, how'd that happen? How did that transition go from basketball to getting into volleyball? Especially, like you said, maybe you didn't have that background playing, and we don't really have much of that here in Southeast Missouri anyway. So how did you get that transition?
Yeah. So, my love for volleyball actually just started because volleyball was so natural to me as a player. I didn't really know anything about it. I just went out, and in PE class, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, Dave's the best player in the PE class."
just had that natural inclination.
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. So when I was down in New Madrid, I was a 6th grade PE teacher, and I would walk up to the high school the last hour of the day, and all the girls volleyball players were in PE class, and they were playing volleyball every single day. Yeah. So I went out and joined them before high school practices started. And then my second year at New Madrid, after coaching the basketball team with Coach McFerrin, we won state championship, which was really awesome.
Yeah.
The volleyball coach down there, Coach Fowler, retired, and they were looking for a head volleyball coach. So they asked me if I would coach it, and that's how I kind of just stumbled into it. And man, I'm reading books on how to coach volleyball, how to teach volleyball. I felt like I was really good, but I didn't know a lot about it. So
I felt like you were going back through the whole school process yourself, trying to learn a new thing.
Yep. And it was really exciting. It was fun, and we had a great time, and I was very successful at doing that.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I didn't know you were on the staff over there with Coach McPhail, and that's pretty cool. You run some pretty nasty New Madrid teams, Coney Ely, guys like that down there around that time period.
Yep. So when I was down there, it was Derek Tipler.
Tipler was there,
Rolo Ranson, Brian Minner, Ricky Smith, Jarrell Minner, the 6'8" guy. So,
you had some nasty basketball teams down there.
I was down there for 2 years. We won state both years. So
it's pretty good.
Such a great
you can just take all the credit. Just be like, look, I mean, there's a direct correlation here. I don't know.
I did help Coach. No. Coach Mack was a great person to learn from, and so was his son, and it was a lot of fun down there.
Yeah. So you went from New Madrid. Then how long were you at New Madrid coaching volleyball?
So I was at New Madrid for 2 years total. Got to be the volleyball coach for just 1 year.
Okay.
And then I was getting married. I got married the second year at New Madrid, and my wife was teaching at Jackson. And it was just, we lived in Sykeston, and we knew we wanted to raise our family in Jackson. So I just had to get a little bit closer to home.
Yeah.
So I left New Madrid to take the head boys basketball position at Chaffee High School.
Okay.
And went there for a couple of years. And again, the second year I was there, the volleyball coach at Chaffee took another job someplace else, and they asked me to coach the volleyball team.
Nice.
So same thing that happened in New Madrid, I was right back at it. And man, I coaching volleyball at New Madrid and coaching volleyball at Chaffee was such a great experience. When I was at Chaffee, they hadn't won a game in 3 years.
Wow.
And I still remember going to Oak Ridge and getting that first win.
That was an incredible moment.
And it was so fun. And the bus ride home, we actually drove home and then bypassed the school, drove downtown around the town square, hooting the horn and yelling out the windows like we won a state championship, and we just won a volleyball game. But it was so real and just such a great experience. That's an
incredible moment. Yeah. So you went to Chaffee. I'll say I've played for a person who had a little bit of I got getting thrown into volleyball thing, which was Coach Abernathy, Tyler Abernathy. Was at Jackson. He's had the same thing whenever he was my JV coach back in the day, and he said, I came to Jackson to be a basketball coach. He's like, and they were like, hey, if we're going to give you a job as be a basketball coach, you also have to do volleyball. So he talked a lot about that, like, kind of learning on the fly. Like, I don't know a lot about volleyball, but I can take kind of the principles I know. Like you said, you learn from great coaches, Coach Burke, especially, and you had, a guy, he's in our Jackson Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer. In the Missouri Hall of Fame. So, I mean, definitely, you have a good basis, it feels like, to get into the coaching world, have that like base knowledge of a lot of just how to lead young people, especially.
Yep. Yeah. And then, I was at Chaffee for a couple of years, and then Woodland opened up, and decided to go to Woodland to be the head boys basketball coach.
Okay.
And when I was there, they asked, they were looking for a volleyball coach, and I said, you guys also need a volleyball coach? And they said, oh, well, no, we just want you to coach boys basketball. And I said, if you need someone to coach volleyball, I'll do it. My track record shows I'm probably a better volleyball coach than basketball. And I kind of rolled my eyes like, I cannot believe I just said that. I'm trying to get the head boys basketball coaching position here. All I want to do is be a head boys basketball coach. But that was the first time saying it out loud in that meeting. I kind of went home and I was like, maybe I'm choosing the wrong sport.
Yeah.
So I was at Woodland for 4 years and never coached volleyball there. Just coached boys basketball. And after I left Woodland, I got a position at Perryville, where I was the head girls volleyball coach. I'd been teaching for approximately 10 years, and I finally realized kind of what God had been yelling in my ear the whole time. Yeah. Hey, go to volleyball. Go to volleyball.
So they hired you straight into being the volleyball coach. It wasn't, you didn't have to scare away any of the volleyball coaches this time?
No, they wanted me to come and run the volleyball program and be assistant boys basketball coach. Okay. Joel Roth was the head coach, and he was a great coach, did great things. I worked with him for 2 or 3 years as the assistant, and then I was also the head volleyball coach, of course. And then that was about the time where my kids were just getting a little bit older, and I really needed to narrow it down to one sport. Yeah. Either volleyball or basketball, just for time away from home. And I asked my oldest two boys. I was like, "Do you want me to continue coaching you in your youth basketball seasons, or do you want to come watch me coach basketball in between your basketball seasons?" And they wanted me to coach their youth basketball, so I gave up my dream of being a high school basketball coach and followed my
maybe the calling, the actual calling there,
to become my new dream.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool then. But yeah, so then that's your story to Perryville then, huh? So you got to Perryville, and then you just kind of pump you up here. You guys built an awesome program while you were up there. I remember, so I graduated from Jackson in 2013. That was right in the prime of what you guys had going on up there.
Yeah, we were.
I remember seeing some. Yeah, I remember watching you guys a couple of times when you came to Jackson. I watched you guys play Notre Dame when they were awesome. I remember like Natalie Gramad, people like that. They were, were just, y'all's team was absolutely phenomenal. While you're at Perryville, 10 years.
10 years.
Went to the Final Four in 2012. Won, 4 conference championships, 3 district championships. I think you put together, it was a good rebuild there, I would say, overall at Perryville. You led them from, single-digit wins sometimes early on up until, 30 wins a couple seasons there for you guys.
Yeah, it was. It was so fun building that program. And, I remember back in college, Coach Rademacher, who helps coach track here at Jackson, or he did very recently. I was sitting in his coaching strategies class, and he said that you spend kind of your first 10 years, sorry about that.
No, you're all good.
Spend your first 10 years coaching, trying to figure out who you are. Like it sometimes takes that long to get your principles down and your philosophies and your rules and kind of put it all together. And when I first got to Perryville, it was my 10th year coaching. Not 10th year coaching volleyball, but 10th year coaching.
Yeah.
And man, when I got there, it's just like I had a vision of everything I wanted to do. I had a vision of my first year there, what I wanted to do my second year, third, fourth, and fifth year. And it was amazing how it was just kind of laid out for me. And then we just went and did it. The girls bought in. It was very successful right from the start. I think the first year we had a losing season, but we played really hard and we did so many good things. And then the second year we tied the school record with 21 wins.
Nice.
And then the third year it was 18 and 12. And then after that we won, I think 4 years in a row, we won over 30 games.
Wow. Yeah. Incredible run you had up there. Like I said, you guys were a powerhouse. I remember seeing you guys a few times when I was in high school. It was a lot of fun to watch y'all up there. Very, like I said, a lot of really good players, some all-state players, a lot of talent you guys had. But yeah, so you're at Perryville. You have a lot of success at Perryville, and then eventually you do make the move down to Jackson to be the head coach down here. I have to assume, definitely some family motivation there, being in town, working the same, city as your wife, all that stuff probably played a big factor.
It really did. It was the biggest factor was Luke my oldest was going to be a freshman, and Drew was transferring to Jackson from St. Paul. So it was an opportunity for me to be right there. 10 years at Perryville, I never even took my kids to school because I had to leave so early. And it was like the timing was perfect. I loved Perryville. I never even considered leaving. And then all of a sudden the Jackson position opened up, and I went in and talked to Mr. John Martin about it. And we talked for about 2.5 hours about kind of how I wanted to run the program and what expectations he had of the volleyball program. And it was just going to be a great fit.
Yeah.
So took the plunge and came to Jackson. And it's been a great ride here also.
Yeah, and pretty much, I don't know what your expectation was coming at first, but you hit the ground running. You had, like I said, I wrote down immediately 27 wins year one. Pretty good way to start off your tenure somewhere.
Yeah, I was able to get their attention. I really challenged that first group. So when I was my first year at New Madrid, we were 500, and my first year at Chaffee, we were 9-16, which, considering I hadn't won a game
not too bad.
3 years, 9 wins was really, really impressive.
That was incredible, yeah.
And then my first year at Perryville, we were 15 and something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Anyway, we had a losing season. So I told those seniors, I met with them and I said, look, everywhere I go, I have been successful, but the first year we lose because I can't get the seniors to buy in like I want them to. They think they buy in, and they do a good job of buying in, but it's not at the level that I need them to buy in to turn it around. So I said, I'm going to challenge you guys. If you buy in, we can get this thing going the way I want it to right now, or not. And Hannah Wilson and Lainey Broussard's senior year, maybe they'll be the ones that get it going. And if not, it's the next group. But man, they just said, Coach, we'll do whatever you want us to do. We will listen to you and work and do whatever. And man, they did. It was a phenomenal turnaround, very, very quickly.
Yeah, and like I said, you like you mentioned, you walked into really good talent. Hannah Wilson, like you said, Lainey Broussard, really good setter. Olivia Howlett was a good hitter for you guys. She grew up right across the street from me. I knew Olivia pretty well. So you walked in, had a lot of great. You had good talent, and then like you said, they bought in. How? Like you've did that a few times. You had this the transition going new places a few times. And, how what does you hear it a lot? What does like buying in? Do you think really mean from high schoolers especially?
Well, I have a certain way that I like to run my program. We have 3 rules that we have, and if you don't follow these 3 rules, you don't get to be part of our program very long. It's just great. It's very simple. Just a great attitude. You're going to work extremely hard, and you're going to have a lot of enthusiasm. And I told those seniors that first year, and I said, attitude is so big for us because once you face adversity, how are you going to respond to that? You can have a positive attitude. You're going to, start spiraling downward. Are we going to have drama on the team? Are you going to be unified? All that is centered around attitude. Right. And I said, you're going to work harder than you may have ever worked in your life, and you're going to enjoy yourself. And if you don't do those 3 things, you're not going to make it. And those 4 seniors that first year, man, they really, really bought into it, and quickly. I could tell, man, beginning of the summer, we played a lot of games that first summer, and we were just okay. Yeah. And then that last tournament we were at, we played great. We really started putting together. We had everything I was looking for out of them I was hoping September, showed up in late July. So I had a good feeling that we were going to be all right.
That's good.
But, you're still kind of, the girls feel safe in the summer and not a lot of people watching. So I knew that, we had a long way to go yet. But funny story, we were, it was our first home game of the season. And we were hosting St. Vincent's, who is really good.
Yeah, great program.
Great job. I don't know if Jackson beat St. Vincent's recently before I got there, but we're hosting it. So it's our first home game. It's at Jackson, 2 out of 3. And, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I want us to do great. And I kept telling the girls before the game, I go, you're going to face adversity. I said, I know you're fired up and ready to play. I know that. I can see it. But you're going to face adversity, and how you handle that adversity is going to determine not only this game, but the path this team is going to take. And we get out there, and we're playing, and I never coach with my phone in my pocket. I always put it away. And I forgot that first game. I was a little nervous and everything. I forgot about that, and I felt my phone ding during the game. And I was like, oh, crap, I forgot to put my phone away. Anyway, so I think I went over in the middle of the set or in between sets and stuck it in the briefcase where it always is. Didn't look at it, just put it away. Well, sure enough, we faced adversity and we talked about it, and we ended up winning that first game in 3 sets. Yeah. Well, after the game, I looked at my phone. It's like, oh, I got a text message from a great friend of mine from Perryville, whose daughter played for St. Vincent's, Kent Kossel. And he was actually the line judge in the game that night. So in between sets, that's when he sent the text message.
Texting you.
And he goes, I could probably look at it, it's probably still on my phone. He goes, great, Dave, thanks. You're there. From the first season, you have it all turned around already. We don't have a chance. And it just was really cool that he felt the need to go out of the way to send that message. Because he had seen how Jackson had played in the past. Right. And he could tell that just by our attitude and our demeanor, we had started to turn things around.
Right. Yeah, and For those that don't know, I have a little bit of a peek behind the curtain because I had a sister that played for you, Micah Deloach. And that's definitely one thing as far as your program goes that I've seen kind of from afar is, like you said, you have a bunch of girls on a team together. They're not all going to be best friends, stuff like that. But it feels like you guys always find a way to play for each other. It always feels like, in the moment, in the games, it's probably that way at practice. I don't know. But, I've never seen a group of kids like looking like they're going to, they're just throwing themselves on the floor for each other. Everybody's helping each other up. Everybody's hyped for each other. They definitely you can feel it from the stands, how, it feels like your girls always really, have bought into the team environment, definitely playing for each other and loving each other like that.
Yep. Well, that is something we really, really, really focus on. And, hanging on to one more story about that first season, when I knew that I could do something special at Jackson was the second game of the year. We went down to Dexter to play. And probably the year before I got to Jackson, that was probably one of the biggest upsets in Southeast Missouri was Jackson upset Dexter. And I remember that happening because I was at Perryville and Dexter was in our districts. And when they upset him, I'm like, oh, man, Dexter's loaded. How did Jackson do that? Yeah. Good for Jackson. Excited for him. And maybe we can now beat Dexter.
Yeah, feeling confident.
Which we did, and a couple weeks later, we lost to him in the district championship game. So we go down there to Dexter, and Coach Morgan, Carmen, oh my gosh, she had her Dexter team so ready for that game. I built it up. I told the girls we can go down there and win. This will be a statement. I even said this will be a statement if we can go down to their house and beat them. And I probably shouldn't have built it up so much. We were just not quite ready for that. And Dexter hammered us. I mean, they embarrassed us by the scoreboard. And like nothing worked for us. We tried this, we did that. I didn't bench anybody or anything like that, but like it didn't matter what we did, we were not going to win. I don't know if we got over 12 points either set. And after the game, I was talking to Brad Wendell, my assistant coach, and we both shared the same opinion of that game. It was awesome. It was the turning point of me being a Jackson because during that embarrassing loss on the scoreboard, our girls did not turn on each other.
Yeah.
They fought. The bench was excited. The girls were staying pumped. They had great attitudes. They kept working. And I know that didn't happen because playing Jackson in the past, you could get, once you got up, you could just coast.
You could feel it deflate after that. Yeah.
And our girls, even though they couldn't win, even though it came to a point where everyone knew, I knew we couldn't win, we were still fighting.
Yeah.
And we were pretty excited. The whole bus ride, we just kept talking about, hey, we got something special here. Yeah. And like you said, got us to 27 wins that year.
Yeah, good season there. And then, I think it was, if I remember right, it was kind of the Farmington monkey on your back in districts the first couple of years, getting to the district championship game. And then, you look at the numbers here. You guys broke through 6 straight district titles since then, Coach. Not too shabby since then. I did want to just mention before we get more up to the present day, like you've had, a lot of really, really good players come to your program. Obviously, a combination of their natural ability mixed with like you said, kind of what you guys do here at Jackson, and you can talk about that. You've had a lot of high level athletes too. Maybe more so. Like I said, when I was in school, there weren't that many girls probably going to play college ball from Jackson. Now you have 3 going to be playing D1 next year. I know you have 2 at SEMO. Nadia's over at Wichita. So kind of talk about that. I mean, you guys have had some phenomenal athletes.
Yeah, it was awesome when a young lady gets a scholarship to continue her career in college. Right. And I had 9 of them at Perryville get a college scholarship, and most of them ended up at John A. Logan or Mac or Jeffco. Actually, that's where all of them went, one of those 3 schools. And then coming to Jackson, Liv right away went to John A. Logan and made an impact immediately. And Hannah Wilson could have gone to a lot of schools, but she chose that when she got done with high school, she was done with volleyball, which is her choice. I've had some other great players who could have went on to play, but I've always kind of joked around with my college buddies. I was like, I've never coached a D1 player. And then all of a sudden, in the one season, I've got 3. Yeah, I got Katie, Holland, and Nadia, which was just really cool and really neat. But nothing changed. The girls still had great attitudes. They still worked really hard. My expectations of them didn't change, which, I felt that was a really good thing for us because we just kept grinding and working and doing what got us to that successful point.
Yeah, and around, I remember that, like, I knew that team pretty well. And like around those girls, you had, Ella went to Maryville,
yes,
you had
Ella
Grace, you had,
player.
you guys had a very, very loaded team. And like I said, 3 straight years, 30 wins, 33 this past year, program record, big time season. And that was, kind of getting into, I guess, talk about last season a little bit. What was your expectations going into last season? You obviously have Katie, who, broke every, hitting record there is probably by her sophomore year. Mm-hmm. And so, you have that around her, but you had, some youth, maybe some little inexperience around her. So what was your expectations going into this past year that was, leading to an awesome season you guys had?
We always have high expectations, but I always try to set realistic expectations. I don't really share those with anybody. Yeah. But, my one goal, everybody kind of asks, what's your goal every season? It's simple. I want to overachieve. Whatever I think we can accomplish, I want to overachieve it. So, with all of our inexperience, we had Katie coming back, and that was really... other than that was really it.
Yeah, as far as like actual starting,
time.
Really good.
Yeah, LA got in not much. Katie Wandell got in a little bit. We were really, really inexperienced. Ava Wessel was a setter her sophomore year for us, so she was coming back as a junior. But I really thought 24 wins would be a pretty good season for that group. I knew we had Katie, and I knew she was going to be a beast. But everyone knew we had Katie.
She was going to attract a lot of attention. Yeah, yes, exactly.
Everyone knew it. And then I have these 2 freshmen coming up that, I knew they were coming up. I didn't know how good they could be. I didn't know if they were going to be ready to play big-time varsity level. So I just didn't know that Amory Winston was going to turn out to be one of the best liberos to ever come through Jackson. I blindsided by that. I knew she was great, and I knew she was a great kid and worked really hard. I didn't know she was going to go out there and arguably be, stat-wise, she was the best libero to ever come through Jackson.
Wow.
Didn't see that coming, so I was so happy for her. I didn't realize Katie St. John, I knew and I had hoped she would, but like we're playing Corey Zoo, not in the district championship game, but in the regular season. We're playing Corey Zoo, and Corey Zoo's playing great against us. And we win because we have Katie St. John and they don't.
Right.
We're setting Katie off the net because we had a bad first pass and she's getting kills. And I look across the net and I could see the Corey Zoo girls are like, what do we do? And I'm like, there's nothing you can do. I have Katie. You don't have Katie. We're going to win tonight. So it was just so special seeing her do that a lot for us her senior year. And she did it all the way up through. But, man, her senior year, she was just so special. We moved her over to the right side, and she bought into that position over there and broke the school record in kills from the right side. How many high school teams can say their leading kill person was on the right side?
No, not many.
So the team just didn't see that coming. So, that fed into it. And great leaders like Katie Wandell and L.A. Were great captains for us. And just made sure everybody kept working hard. And those freshmen, man, they came in and stepped up big.
Yeah. And so something you mentioned, talking about freshmen moving up, into your program, I will say this freshman class this past year, Jackson, girls-wise, had a really, really big impact, I feel like, across the board in a lot of sports. There were a lot of freshmen that were playing really, really well. And, you were the beneficiary, a couple of them, Bruni and Dory, coming up, played a lot of big-time sets for you guys. And you mentioned how, you weren't sure what they were going to be like. How much obviously I know you're definitely around when they're coming up through middle school, junior high, kind of seeing where they're at. But then how, and you're mentally, you're like, these girls are good against these people they're playing against their own age. But are you able to kind of translate that, do you think? Or is it kind of at times a little bit random how some girls are going to end up?
So in the summertime, we try to, I tell the parents, when do you want your child to be considered for varsity? You want me to consider them for varsity their freshman year? Well, that means you need to start playing up 4 age groups. You want them their sophomore year, 3 age groups, and so forth. So, I tell them we're going to push the envelope with them in the summertime, some of them anyway, and we're going to have them play up, no matter no matter what, just kind of see how they handle the situation, see if they can handle adversity playing at a higher level. Right. So, Avery played varsity her first time when she was in 7th grade for me. And Lauren moved here, so I think she was in 8th grade that first time. She's playing varsity in the summertime. So, that first time Avery played varsity, that was with Ella Domion and Nadia. Yeah,
big time athletes you had out there, yeah.
They were juniors that year. And, they were really good. Yeah. And Katie St. John was on that team. Yeah. And here's Avery out there in 7th grade, and she played one set, and she led us in kills.
Wow.
So, we knew that she could be really special.
Yeah, translate up, yeah.
Yep, just from that little bitty sample size. And mentally, she was just so ready for it. And we continued that through the years as she was playing for me.
Yeah, and then, you have Lauren over here, 706 assists on the season this past year. So that was, I'm going to ask you a dumb question. This is a volleyball question. Can you explain to me, like I said, and I have a little bit of knowledge. I've watched a lot of volleyball. I'm not going to act like I know a lot of volleyball. So explain to me how formations work in volleyball, how you run 5-1, 4-2, things like that. What do those things mean to the uninitiated?
Okay, so if you want to run one setter on your team and only have one setter, we did that with like Lainey Broussard. It's called the 5-1 offense. Okay. I don't know why they call it 5-1. Nobody ever told me that when I was reading those books. I just know it's called the 5-1.
Fair enough.
You've got 5 hitters and 1 setter, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because not all of them.
Anyway,
5 people trying to hit it to one person, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. So when Lainey would be in the front row, we'd only have 2 hitters because she would be the other front row player. And when she goes to the back row, she's still our setter. And then we would have 3 hitters that we could set.
Yeah.
And she never comes off the court. There's huge advantages to that because if you only have one setter, then all the hitters can get used to the same setter all the time. They can get used to her tempo, her speed, and it can really be beneficial. You can be a little limited when she's in the front row because the other team knows that she can't set to the right side hitter because there is no right side hitter.
Right.
So you need your middle to be able to run some backslides, and you need to just speed things up, do some different things like that.
Okay.
But you can be really successful doing that. But if that one setter goes down, you are now pulling up a JV setter, or you're pulling up your bench setter on the varsity who doesn't have any reps.
Right.
So you could be in a lot of trouble for that if she gets hurt, which Lainey did that year. She got a concussion. But then we had Madeline Borner on the JV, and she proved that
not too bad by the end of her career either.
That was a great option there also.
Yeah.
Or you could run a 4-2, which is what junior highs usually run, where your setter's in the front row all the time. You have 2 different setters. They're always in the front row. I don't know that many varsity teams run a 4-2.
Okay.
It's more of a learning 11, 12-year-old type offense.
Okay.
Very simple. Although I did have a good friend of mine who won a state championship running a 4-2 back in the early 2000s. So, it can be done at a high level.
Yeah.
But you just don't see that very often.
Okay.
And you can run a 6-2, which is what we ran last year, where both of your setters are always in the back row. So when Lauren Dory last year would go to the back row, she would be the setter. When she goes to the front row, she turns into a hitter, and Ava Wessel would be the setter.
Okay.
So that's the differences. With that, you always got 3 hitters. The other team can't key in on one hitter because you can set right, left, and middle at all times. If one of them gets hurt, you can rely on the other one to run a 5-1, or you can plug in a JV setter or another setter to fill in that void. But you're getting, your middles are getting used to 2 different setters, which timing becomes an issue.
Yeah.
All have advantages, all have disadvantages. I don't pick one over the other. I kind of take my team and see who I've got.
So you just base it off personality. You don't you don't pigeonhole yourself? Okay.
No. It's, we're high school. We take whoever walks in the door.
Yeah, exactly.
And we mold it to fit whoever walks in the door. If I was recruiting.
So you're like most high schools.
Yeah, yes.
Not some of the ones you play against.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If I was recruiting one of those schools, I don't know what I
can
say.
I can say it. You can. Maybe you can't say it. I can say it.
When I said recruiting, I was talking college.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, nobody does that.
No.
But yeah, it also helps. You have 2 very talented, setters, like you said, Lauren Dory Ava Wessel, and also helps when, having a freshman, Lauren Dory, that's walks in the door like 6'1", 6'2", whatever it does. Doesn't hurt either. No. That's been something. I get that. That's my favorite question to people that there's not a real answer to. I get all the time from strangers is like, what are you guys doing? How do you guys have so many tall people at Jackson? What I was like, I don't know. We're just lucky. It's the German ancestry, maybe. I don't know.
Well, we do have tall people, and we are kind of tall. But when we start playing Class 5,
exactly.
We're not so tall anymore.
No, yeah.
My middles last year were 5'8", Katie Wandell, and Lafayette 6'1", 6'2" middles. And then you got the Witherspoon girls of 6'4" and 6'1". Yeah, so all of a sudden we're little again. But yes, we're excited when we play local teams. We are more
just towering.
Yes, we are towering over most local teams. But yeah, it gets a little bit different when we head up north and start playing Class 6 schools.
Yeah, exactly.
Class 5 schools.
Yeah, I've seen some of the teams you guys have to play against. And it's a different ball game once you get up to suburban St. Louis schools a little bit there. But speaking of last season, for people that are watching, you've already seen this episode. I did an episode about a year in review of this past year. Obviously, we didn't cover volleyball in the podcast this past year. Started a little bit too late for that, but we mentioned, biggest moments of the year, things like that, kind of the best moment that you experienced. And I know from, like I said, some experience having a sister on the team, things like that. You guys have played Incarnate Word a lot over the last few years. They have a lot of very, very talented girls. They made life difficult, frustrating a lot of times. And I thought one of the cooler moments I got to see for you guys this past year, watched you guys online play Incarnate Word and beat them at the Jackson tournament. I bet that was a little bit of a little bit of a monkey off the back type situation, kind of getting over the hump, beating a team like that successful. Yeah,
that was such a rewarding win for us and the girls, because that was the first time in school history we'd beat them. And like we've been ever since I came to Jackson. That was one of the things I talked to Mr. Martin about. Is like we need to get some teams on our schedule to get us ready to make a run at state. If we're going to get to the Final Four, we have to start playing these teams, and not just one of them. Half our schedule has to be against these teams. Last year we played, like Nixa and Lee Summits and all those teams that we played. So, at the beginning when we started playing them, our girls, they fought hard and they worked hard and they thought they could win for years. We just couldn't get the job done. Right. But now, we honestly believe, every time we walk on the court, if we play at our level and we play the way we're supposed to, we're going to win. And last year was the first time that, we'd worked and talked about it, but we just couldn't find a way to consistently do that until last year. Yeah. Last year, they just were like, we're ready. This is our chance. Yeah. L.A. and Wandell and Amory, and those three, they sat on the bench their junior year. And what people don't know is Nadia and Holland and Ella and all them and Sydney and Krista that were so great. L.A. and them, they beat them most of the time in practice. They were right there taking their best shots. So their entire junior year, every single day in practice, they're going up against one of the most talented teams in the state. Right. They're going up against 3 D1s. So their senior year, they're like, this is nothing.
They've seen it every day, yeah.
Nixa doesn't have anyone as good as Nadia. They don't have a Katie St. They don't have an Ella. Holy cow. Ella can just hit it so hard.
Freak athlete.
So it's just they were so calm out there, and they're like, we're going to win because we're prepared. Even though we didn't get to play last year, we got so much better in practice. Yeah. And, you talked about the attitude and the energy that the players have that don't get to play. That's why they were so good their senior year, because on the bench and in practice, they worked so hard and they were still part of the team, even though they didn't get on the court very much. And that allowed their senior year to be 8 games over what I even thought we could accomplish. 8 wins over what I thought we could accomplish. And we just set the bar so high, beating Incarnate Word, beating Nixa. Yeah.
Went on the road, beat Eureka. That was a big one for me too, because Eureka's one of those schools that just consistently, like I said, Metro or suburban St. Louis, just one of the great programs up there.
Yeah, Eureka. So, we were down 21-14 in the fourth set in that game, and we had to win that fourth set.
Yeah.
Which was that was one of my biggest comebacks in my coaching career. That we came back in and won that one, and that was at their place on senior night.
Yeah.
That was a remarkable game.
Yeah, that was a huge one for me. Like I said, there's certain teams like that. I mean, you just beat Incarnate Word not too long before that, but seeing you guys win that game, get over that hump, and then seeing you go on the road to Eureka, like I said, a school that you just consistently see, like you said, 25, 30 win seasons like that against the teams that they play night in and night out. Mm-hmm. Just really, really impressive stuff. But yeah, that was something I was going to bring up because you guys, consistently play a tough schedule. We just mentioned a couple of those teams. I mean, you play obviously all the SEMO area teams, teams that, Notre Dame had a good season last year. Cape had a good season last year. Dexter's always tough. Farmington's always tough. Speaking, that was also that was a I don't know if that was like exciting all the way for you, if it was like you lost a few hair follicles after that game, or what that experience was like. Watching that come back also from afar was an experience, I would say, too.
It was. And, I enjoyed that Farmington game so much because we've been playing so good, and we get up there at their place, and Farmington's playing out of their minds. I mean, I'd scouted them and I'd watched them, and they are playing at such a high level. And we weren't playing bad. I wouldn't say we were playing great. We were doing okay. Mm-hmm. And, we lose that first set. And I actually thought we were going to come back and win that first set. We had a little run there late in the game and didn't win it. And that second set, same thing. I kind of thought we were okay, and then we lost it. And I was like, if we lose this, I'll get their attention in practice.
Yeah, it's going to be a learning moment. Yeah,
and it wasn't like we gave them the game. Like Farmington played great against us. Haley come in here, she'd tell I was the best game they played all season long.
Yeah.
And then we won that third set, and we're down big in that fourth set. And we actually fought off 3 match points. Mm-hmm. And all 3 times I'm like, well, gosh, it was now I really want. We made it this far. It's like, gosh, I really kind of wanted to force a 5th set just to see how we could do.
Yeah, like let's try to win it now. How about that?
And like it's like I told the girls, we're a religious based community, and it's great that I can talk to them. We say a prayer before all the games. We have a player that leads us in prayer before all the varsity games. It's a really special moment for us. We had Bible study a couple years ago. One of Charlie Kep led us in some Bible studies, which was just an awesome thing. And, I tell the girls, I was like, you want to be mentally tough. And if you really want to be mentally tough, you need to pray to be mentally tough. But just beware that, God doesn't just make you mentally tough. He puts you in positions where you're forced to be mentally tough. And then you find out what you're really made of. Mm-hmm. So that was one of those things. I just remember thinking, it's like, wow, I asked to be mentally tough. I asked for my team to be mentally tough. This is our test.
Here it is.
So, maybe we're not quite where we need to be yet. And, what do? We found out we got a lot of mental toughness because we handled situations like that. Yeah. And that was really rewarding.
Yeah. And so, kind of guess coming up here now to present day, once again, you guys win your 6th consecutive district title this past year, another quarterfinal appearance, which had not been something Jackson never seen the quarterfinal round before your tenure here. Been there now 3 years in a row, I believe. And then going into this next year, so it's becoming a tradition for you, just losing an all-time great front row player here, 6-footer that's going to be playing at the college level now in Katy. Mm-hmm. So let's start with, we're in the middle of the off season right now, or the middle of the summer right now, at least. What's this been like so far, this whole off season for you guys up to this point?
It's been an awesome off season. I love summer volleyball because I get to see the new people emerge as leaders. I get to see the new people who desire to be a captain. We go through the captain interview process with them. We challenge them to, every year I want my players, no matter how good they were their freshman year, to be better their sophomore year. No matter how good they were their sophomore year, to be better their junior, and so forth. So they're better every single year. Right. And I want my teams, and we talk about that. We talked about it last year. That team last year won 29 games. I want you guys to do better. Last year's team won 33. I want this year's team to win 34.
Yep.
And that's my challenge. I'm like, but Katie's not here to bail you out, right? When you don't make a good pass. Amory's not here to take those hardest hit serves and hardest hit balls. And it's your turn to step up. And, there's some girls that didn't get a chance to play a lot last year that this is their chance. Yeah. Jade Cowart, she's ready to show everyone in Southeast Missouri that Amory Winston, I'm Jade Cowart. Yep. And she's going to turn some heads this year because she's ready. She sat the bench last year and she worked hard in practice last year. And I have other players like that are just ready to take the next step. Avery Bruni has worked really hard at setting and been a great setter for her club and set for us in the past, and she's going to look to set quite a bit this year. So that's a new challenge for her to make sure, to prove that she deserves to be one of the setters, which means she had to pass up 2 starters from last year. So it's always exciting in the summertime to get this new group coming in, the new team coming in, and push them, get them ready to play at the high level. So I love where we are right now. We're nowhere where we need to be, but we've got plenty of time to get there.
Yeah. So what is the off-season schedule like for you guys? So season ends by like November-ish, sometime in November. Mm-hmm. What is that whole schedule? What's the volleyball schedule like? Because I know a lot of girls play club too, so I don't know how everything kind of fits in together there.
Yeah. So what I've done, started this at Perryville, and brought it with me to Jackson too. Once the season ends, usually, hopefully, first week in November.
Yep.
And that's where it's been going to, so it's been nice. I actually don't do anything with the girls with the volleyball until summer.
Okay.
They're all playing club. They're all, we get in the weight room some, but they're all doing stuff on their own and are getting away from volleyball. Allows them to play multiple sports. Someone play basketball, someone play soccer, someone run track, and that gives them their time to do that. And then gives them a break. Club season ends, and I'm not having them come in to start open gyms or camps or anything like that. That way they get, some of them got 6 weeks off without touching a volleyball. Yeah. So they come in the summer and they are excited and they are ready to get after it. They haven't touched a volleyball, a sport that they love, in maybe 6 weeks for some of them. Yeah. So that just raises the energy level.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that is good. Like you said, kind of keeping, you don't burn them out like that too is probably a big thing. And you do have several that do play multiple sports. Like I said, Lauren Dory, somebody I talked about a lot during basketball season. But and something I saw you mentioned, I think in the paper when you got hired, was kind of the importance of weightlifting for your teams and like the difference it's kind of shown. Is that something you guys still are pretty actively doing, weightlifting? And then what is, can you tell the difference between, your athletes before and after they get in the weight room?
Yeah. So we, when I first came to Jack, and Perryville started this up too, we had a lot of, before we started lifting weights, we had a lot of back pains, a lot of shoulder pains, but a lot of lower back pains. And that was my 3rd or 4th year at Jackson, maybe my 2nd year. We started getting in the weight room and started working really hard, and all the back pains went away. And all the shoulder nagging pains went away. It's like, hey, this is work. Even if it doesn't make us jump much higher or make us that much quicker, I didn't care. Our back pains went away. And then, of course, now, we focus on quickness. We focus on explosion. We focus on shoulder strength. Right. And we've got Coach Brady and Jacob Klein, our trainer, are running our workout programs this summer for the volleyball team, and they're doing an awesome job. And these girls are getting so much stronger. And they're doing injury prevention. We're focusing on ACLs, strengthening up different muscles to take pressure off the ACLs, which is something we've been very fortunate at Jackson in the past too. Keeping healthy. So it's making us stronger, but it's keeping us healthy for the entire season.
And that's the most important thing. Like you said, if you have these great players, if they're not out there, there's nothing they can do to help you guys. So, and then we've talked about club volleyball earlier. Something I wanted to ask just a little bit about. I know different coaches in different sports have varying level relationships with AAU teams or club teams, depending on the sport and stuff like that. How helpful or beneficial is it? Because we do have a pretty prevalent, I guess, club volleyball culture here, things like that in Southeast Missouri. And then, I know girls go up play at different levels in different places around, so go to St. Louis or wherever. But, how beneficial is that maybe just for people on your team, things like that over the years?
It's been huge because it allows them to play in the off season.
Yeah.
It allows them to play for a different coach, which is always great. Different philosophies, different ideas, and they travel around, so they get that fun team bonding aspect of things. Plus, the Sportplex has been just such a great addition to our community.
Right.
Man, I get to go watch. I think I watched every team but 2 teams of my players this past year, past club season. So I get to see them playing. They'll go to a club and they'll play a different position than I have them playing for at Jackson, right, which is awesome. So now they're learning different positions. I get to see that and be like, oh, that's great. I never really considered them. They're doing a really great job. So that part's been great too. Yeah. So yeah, it provides them an opportunity to play, opportunity to get better and improve, and helps make us better come season. Yeah.
And so, you mentioned it earlier, so coming into this upcoming season, you said expectations never change. You always want to just be overachieving constantly, be better than you were the year before. So I guess the question I am just going to ask you, what is the expectations for your girls going in? Where are you guys at team wise, things like that? What's your kind of blanket at, where you're at right now as a team?
So I usually, when I make those expectations and those things, I have to get to the end of the summer.
Right.
After club season, I'm usually sitting on the beach at Perdido Key.
It's a pretty nice place to do it.
It's awesome. I love it. My wife says I need to sit and be quiet some instead of moving around all the time. So while I'm being forced to sit, that's kind of when I write up how good we can be and how good I think we can be. We've only played, I haven't even had a game yet this summer where I've had my entire team there. Okay. So I've always missed 1 girl or 2 girls, or I switch teams up. So I'm not sure yet what we can accomplish, but like if we take a step backwards from what we've done in the past, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. I'm not going to say how many wins we're going to get because, last year we're going to find ourselves having to fight scratch and claw to come from behind. And last year we kept seeming to win all those games. Yeah.
And like you said, even going into last season, they ended up winning 33, but you're like, if we win 24 games, like that is good spot. Like that is good. Like that's not a bad thing just because you do go backwards win number wise. Like you said, you still want to go backwards progress wise. Yeah.
And we again made our schedule tougher. We dropped one of the weaker teams in our schedule and we picked up St. Teresa's out of Kansas City. Yeah. We're going to play Lee Summit West out of Kansas City. Wow. We're going to play St. Pius out of Festus, who won a state championship, and that 6'4" girl they got is good. Yeah. So like we could do great and have an awesome season, maybe only win 28 games this year. Yeah. Or less. And you never know what they could do with us in districts. I feel like they keep making it harder and harder for us to win a district championship. And, last year they're like, we'll show Jackson. We'll give them Nairnix Hall. We'll give them Corezu. We'll throw in Ursuline, who got second in state last year. We'll bump them into that district, so we'll make sure Jackson
and then make you play at Corezu.
Yeah, play at Corezu.
You're the 1 seed, playing at Corezu.
Yeah, what are they going to do next year? They're going to this fall. They're going to stick us with Lafayette or Eureka. You just never know. They may put us in a district that's just so. Last year's district, I remember that quarterfinal game with Nairnix Hall. Yeah, I mean. And I felt like we were better, but Nairnix could have easily won that game. Right. It got tough. They got really close, and our girls could have easily folded that 4th set, and all of a sudden we're playing in the 5th set for our lives out there. So you just never know for sure. But the way the girls are working hard, and if we stay healthy, I don't see us taking a step back, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, and so you do lose 7 seniors. Obviously, we talked about some of the ones that, how impact, but you have 6 girls on last year's roster. I don't know what the number is going to be by the time you get to there, but you're going to have the seniors that are going to be, taking that maybe leadership role this year. How excited are you to kind of see them in that development? Once, you're not there yet, but how excited are you to see them get to that spot in their careers here with you guys?
It's great because these new seniors are, they've seen the leaders from the past, and they've seen the Hollands, and they've seen Ella, and they've seen those girls be leaders, and they want to, and it's fun to watch them try. I'll be in the huddle, and I'll say, Ava, what else you got? And she kind of takes a deep breath because she's like, oh yeah, that's right, I am a senior now, or oh, I just got put on the spot. And I purposely do that just to see their response. And then they stutter through something. And then all of a sudden, after they stutter around a little bit, they're saying great stuff.
Yeah.
And then the second time we get into a huddle, Jade, how'd practice go? Man, she's ready to go. She spits out a great answer. And then I ask the next one after the next maybe timeout or break in camp or something like that, and they're ready to go. So it's just fun to watch those new seniors grow as great leaders. And that's what they've done this summer. And, that part's been fun. We've got 5 seniors this year that we'll have. We have a new addition. We have a young lady that moved here from Mobile, Alabama.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember Tally Haynes.
Yeah.
Played Cape Central.
Yeah.
Dad was Joey Haynes. So he moved his family back up here to Cape Girardeau, and Milena is going to be a senior this year, and Maria is going to be a sophomore this year. So those two are great additions to our program because they have the attitude, the work ethic, the enthusiasm that I'm looking for. They've already got it. They were taught those things from a very young age. So they just came in that day one for camp and just blended right in with all of us. Right. So we're excited that they're here also.
Yeah,
they're going to make an impact for us.
Yeah, and you have a lot of girls that weren't seniors, like you said, that are stepping up into leadership roles. And you mentioned, Avery Bruni going to be stepping up into, maybe a bigger role on the team, different role. Like you said, have to go and take it from people depending on what you want to do out there. But how important is that going to be? It's kind of seeing, you had, like I said, Lauren Dory, Avery Bruni were both freshmen playing a lot for you last year. Seeing you get some of those girls, you have a big group, I know, on last year's roster of sophomores and freshmen that played, up and down throughout freshman, JV, and some on varsity. How have you seen up to this point, kind of how they've progressed and, where they're maybe going to be up and coming this season?
It's scary.
Yeah.
Because Avery and Lauren are going to be better than they were last year.
Yeah.
And it was 2011 is the last time I had a freshman start varsity and play all the way around, never come off. And there was only one that year in 2011. Last year, I had 2.
Yeah.
First time in my coaching career, I have 2 freshmen starting varsity. First time in my coaching career, I have 2 freshmen starting varsity that never come off the floor. And they're going to be better their sophomore year. And the way they work, they're going to be better their junior year, and they're going to be better their senior year. So, the progression of them 2 is scary for everyone else. Excited for me because I get to see this all unfold, and it's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. You guys, I looked up you guys have first game of the year, September 3rd. Got still a long way to go here. You guys are going to be, what you guys did last year too, where you played over at Carterville over in Illinois a little bit.
We'll play Carterville and Pinckneyville that day. So that'd be a great challenge. Those 2 schools were actually pretty decent last year. We went over there and played really, really well, and won both of them pretty easily. But they both ended up having some pretty good years last year. So this year they're both going to be pretty good again. Carterville's going to be a lot better, and Pinckneyville graduated quite a few, but they have some young ones coming back that are pretty good. So it'll be a great challenge to see how we get on the bus and drive over there and get them right off the bat. Yeah,
you guys are going to be challenging yourselves from the get-go, going over there. I like, you played, I'm just going to start just getting weirdly specific here, but you guys played the Jackson Showcase last year. Both those teams from, like, the Memphis area or wherever they're, like, North Point, Dyer County, were both really, really good. Like, I think they both were in the state title game in their classifications. I think North Point won and Dyer County got second place, something like that.
I think so.
So, I mean,
they did really good.
Yeah, so, I mean, you guys continue to challenge yourselves again this year. Like you said, the teams that are going to stay on your schedule combined until you bring them back.
Yep,
so.
We played Dyer County last week or 2 weeks ago in the summer tournament, and they beat us. They got that big 6'2" girl that's getting D1 looks, and she's really, really tough. So, I'm really looking forward to that challenge of playing them again when it counts.
Yeah, I'm excited. You guys are playing a tough schedule. I hope, like I said, I want more people to get out there, see your kids. That's why I always tell people whenever I shoot these, my goal is not for more people to know my name out doing this. I want more people to know, these girls going to be playing for you. the athletes that are the ones spending hours and hours in the gym, blood, sweat, and tears out there. You guys are going to be really good again this year. 33 wins last season, and you played a pretty good home schedule. You're going to have Eureka here. You're going to have Jorge Jesus here. So, I'm hoping you guys we get to spread the word here, get some big crowds out there over at the event center.
And gosh, it's been great. I remember that first year when I came here, the J crew, they didn't show up to volleyball games.
Right.
There was I don't know why we really pulled out the other side of the bleachers. We should have just pulled back the one side with the chairs, the stadium chairs. Then it would have looked probably more full.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, golly, we are packing the place for as big as it is. I mean, if it was at the junior high, it wouldn't be big enough.
Right.
Or if it was in the multipurpose, it wouldn't be big enough. So, we really feel like we put out a great product. Mm-hmm. And I promise, I tell people all the time, if you haven't been to a volleyball game in a long time, if you show up, you're going to be hooked.
Right.
We make it fun. It's enjoyable. You're going to see young ladies out there doing very remarkable things every point of the game. There's never a boring moment when it comes to volleyball, because every time we jump up to hit, there's a chance we're going to hit somebody in the face.
Yeah.
On the other side, there's a good chance someone on our team's going to be diving for the ball.
Yep.
And then when you get these long rallies, and they changed the rule for this year where they're not going to call doubles anymore. Right.
Interesting.
You got yourself a rally, and all of a sudden the referee blows a whistle and sticks up two fingers, and half the people in the stands are going, "What was that call?
What does that mean?"
And the coaches are like, "Oh, such a good rally." This year they're doing away with that call. So
okay, that's interesting.
It's just gonna make longer rallies, which is the most fun part about volleyball, is when you get those long rallies going. So I'm excited to see how that changes the game of volleyball in a positive way for us.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be fun. If you show up for volleyball for the first time, I promise you'll be hooked.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun. You guys, like you said, put out a very fun product. Obviously, you have great talent. Like we mentioned earlier, your girls always play hard. They always play for each other. It's very fun to watch. Very fun to watch them, interact and be out there on the court together too. So, Coach, wrap it up. Thank you for your time here with me today. A lot of fun getting to talk to you, and hear more about what the program, what you got going on over there.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you guys for watching, listening. Like Coach said, go check them out. Season starts first week of September. You can find their schedule on misha.com. So get out there. They're going to be playing a lot of games, playing a lot of really good competition here at home, and we hope to see more people out there. Come fill the stands, come pack it out. Students come pack out J Crew, and it'll be a blast. So, Coach, thank you for joining me. Everybody, thank you for watching, for listening. We'll see you in the next one.